5 years ago, I bought a hidden slice of wilderness in northern Idaho. 180 acres of pure solitude, dense pine forest, rocky cliffs, and in the middle, a glacial-fed lake so pristine it looked like a mirror dropped from the clouds. No paved roads, no neighbors, no infrastructure, just raw, untamed land. I had cashed out early from a fintech startup and walked away from city life. My goal was simple: disappear, go off-grid, live slow, and breathe deep. The property was cheap because it was inaccessible and far outside any zoning map. Most people saw inconvenience. I saw freedom. I built a self-sustaining cabin on the lake's eastern edge. Solar panels, composting toilet, well water, and Starlink internet. I spent my days reading, chopping wood, and swimming in silence. I stocked the lake with bass and grew vegetables in raised beds. It was my own quiet world, until Crestline Meadows came along. They were a high-end residential community that broke ground just outside the forest boundary. Sleek homes, planned parks, and, of course, an HOA that ran things like a private kingdom. At first, I didn't care. They were miles away. But soon, their president, a smooth-talking guy named Douglas Grant, knocked on my cabin door with an opportunity. He wanted access to the lake, said it would elevate the value of the entire region, offered to lease a portion of the shoreline. I said no. Then he tried to buy it outright, offering just under $1 million. I told him to take a hike. That's when things got ugly. Months passed, and one morning I heard machinery. I walked out with my coffee and froze. A backhoe was cutting into the slope near the West Cove, my land. I raced over. Construction crews had carved a wide dirt road straight through the tree line. When I confronted them, they handed me a county document. It was a land use revision permit. It claimed Crestline Meadows had rights to create a public access recreational trail due to waterway linkage between their development and the lake. They argued that a seasonal stream, which occasionally trickled into my lake from their side, made the body of water part of a shared watershed resource. They'd lobbied the county, got it reclassified, and pushed through a permit, all without ever notifying me. I contacted the county, no help. I hired a lawyer, but it wasn't enough. Then someone referred me to Allison Crane, a land use litigation expert who'd previously taken down a mining company. She reviewed my case and gave me one line: "Let's give them a nightmare." We got to work. Within days, Allison filed for a cease and desist and filed suit challenging the reclassification. Work stop. But the HOA wasn't backing down. They countersued, citing historical usage and public benefit. The legal fight dragged on for nearly 2 years. Court dates, appeals, zoning board meetings. I drained most of my savings. I sold my cabin and moved into a tent just to stay close to the land. I was nearly out of options when Allison found the key: a set of aerial photos from the 1970s archived by a forestry department intern. They showed the land before the HOA development even existed, and that the stream connecting the community to my lake wasn't natural. It was an artificial drainage trench dug to handle runoff during construction. The water connection was fake. That single piece of evidence destroyed their case. The court reversed the reclassification and reinstated my full ownership. Crestline Meadows' permit was voided. The trail was ordered demolished, but the story didn't end there. Soon after the ruling, I got a call from a man named Kevin Muldoon. He was the COO of CryoPure, a biotech firm that manufactures lab-grade water for pharmaceutical testing. He'd read about my lake and wanted to test the water. 2 weeks later, he offered me a deal. CryoPure wanted exclusive rights to extract water from the lake. Instead of selling, Allison helped me draft a 99-year water rights lease, $28 million per year, adjusted for inflation. CryoPure assumed responsibility for environmental protection and installed advanced filtration systems and security measures to keep the water source untouched. No boats, no trails, no access. Once the deal went public, Crestline's investors pulled out. Property values plummeted. Half-finished homes were abandoned. HOA dues spiked, then defaulted. Residents left in droves. Within a year, the model neighborhood became a ghost shell of its former self. Douglas Grant investigated for bribery during the permit process. He disappeared from the real estate world. Now, I live on a beach in the Virgin Islands. I check my accounts once a year, same date, same time. Every April 10th, $28 million lands in my trust. Quiet, simple, mine. Sometimes I fly back to Idaho. The trees are taller now. The lake is still as silent and beautiful as the day I first saw it. There's a fence around it, signs warning of restricted access, and motion cameras on the ridge. But I still swim in it, alone, just before sunrise. They tried to turn my peace into profit. They failed. Because when you try to steal from a man who has nothing to lose, you better be ready to lose everything.